Hey, what's good, man? How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, doing well. Another week in the books, man. It's flying by. Draft time will be here in no time.
Yeah, it's another week in the books. It's the off season. Yada yada yada. It's kind of the times where you kind of just make shit happen, right? You guys got to make it happen. But anyway, welcome to the Hoof podcast, everyone. It's another week. It's another week in the off season, just like we mentioned. It's good to be back. Last week I was working. Got to make them dollars, son. Duty calls, so it pulls your way. You got to do what you got to do. But
putting in those overtime hours last week, huh?
Yeah, man, putting in them overtime hours. But I'm happy to be back, man. I'm happy to be back, and good job to you on your solo pod.
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure you knew that I thought that your solo pod was
thank
dope.
you. It was my first time doing the solo podcast as part of our Making the Case series. And we're going to talk a little bit about tight ends tonight. And tight ends was the topic of that show. I really broke it down. So if you haven't tuned in, please do. Go ahead, check it out. It's part of the series. Sterling started it out with running back. Eric did offensive line. I did tight ends. I believe Sterling is going to do wide receivers this week,
Yes,
right?
Yes. I'm excited.
And then we'll get together and talk about the offense on the recorded podcast, which is great. But we're going to talk some here about that too. But yeah, you guys make it look easier than it really is. It's tough talking to yourself on the computer and without the fan interaction of the live show that I thrive on as well. So this is, it was a good experience, and hopefully it gets better as we go. I greatly appreciate anybody's feedback. So if you have some, let me hear it.
Oh, okay. So we got my guy.
Speaking of solo pods, this guy,
the king of the solo pod.
Yeah, right. I wish.
My guy. That's my bro down there.
I was just saying, though, you guys make it look easy. I just did my first one, and you guys make it look easy all the time. So
no, that's why I interview people all the time, man. It's tough.
Yeah. That's what I was saying, too. You got to have – I like having that person to bounce off of. But when you're talking to yourself, especially without the live show, the interaction, it gets tough. But hopefully the information still got across. Yeah.
Well, I'm getting better. It took me a while to even just get comfortable. I practiced so much without actually doing one live, like releasing one, because like you said, to talk to yourself for 45 minutes, you feel like you sound crazy until you go back and listen to it. So but thanks for having me on again, man. I always appreciate hanging with my family, man.
Oh, dude. Hey. Anytime,
good to see you, man.
Building, dog. Yeah. You already know what's going down. Hey, I had the privilege and opportunity to be on my guy's show a couple weeks ago on the Code of Conduct, and just so you guys know, my guy Spence is over there at Buffalo Rumblings, just killing it, always killing it, man. Smacking, killing it, knocking it out the park all the time, man. So we are definitely happy to have you here with us. I just want to remind you guys, this is part of the Cover One Network. This is the Hoof Live Show. Want to make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe to whatever we got going on here at Cover One. This is the off-season mode, and while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to my guy Buffalo Rumblings and the Code of Conduct podcast. We got Jay Spence, the King, Mr. Hefe in here.
Wait, real quick, am I not following you? What happened to Cover One on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
Go back and read it.
Hey,
so it turns out there was some issue with an old tweet back in 2017 that something about music. So Twitter suspended the Cover One account temporarily. So that we're working on getting it reactivated. For those of you who are looking for the Cover One account, it will be back soon. So don't worry.
I'll go share it from YouTube. I was just going to share the show.
Right.
I'm
putting out a tweet now. Yes.
So
crazy.
The Twitter gods are hating on us, bro. That's
man, it'd be like that.
Man,
crazy. From 2017 or something like that. Eric said, "Yeah, who knows?"
It'd be like that sometimes. But anyways, man, we get a little shout outs. We got Thomas Burke in the house. What's up, Thomas?
Hey.
And Anthony's wife is in here. Okay. And she's no longer with child. She's with the child.
She's with the child.
She's no longer with child. So whenever Kathy's ready, I got some wine coming her way.
She's looking forward to it. Ready. Trust me.
Right. Reptiles here, man. What's going on, man? How you doing? My man says, I talk to myself. Most times it's the only intelligent conversation I get. Listen, man. So I feel you on that. It's a lot to carry on these shoulders, dog. You know what I'm saying? Spence, you had a tweet about you being the smartest man in the room. Was that yesterday or the day before?
Oh no, I said I'm smarter than the average bear today.
Oh. Today.
I'm just saying I saw it. It was funny. Somebody had the meme where he's sitting there laughing like that, and so I put the coffee cup up, like me holding the coffee cup to my forehead, hoping my temperature is high when I get to work.
All right, so shall we kick this thing off, man? You guys,
let's go. What do you got for us?
All right, so I got a little something for you. So. Little infographic that was on ESPN. All right, it says top starting quarterbacks in 2021. All right, according to ESPN, they got Rodgers 1, Brady 2, Mahomes 3, Watson 4, and our man Josh Allen 5. So my question tonight, just kicking it off, and just so you guys know, this is what's popping. We just take a little gan around the league. We just talk about what's going on, the latest and the greatest. But any thoughts on that? Like,
thoughts on
change the rankings on there? Or what? I know, Anthony, you probably got some beef with that.
I mean, come on. Of course I do. Look at this ranking. This was, and they preface this by saying this is for all of 2021, meaning playoffs, regular season, everything, right? All together. And somehow they came up with, and this is just quarterback play. This is quarterback play. How well did the quarterbacks play? This is your ranking, right? Aaron Rodgers was the MVP. I don't have a problem with him being number one. I do think he was better than Allen this year. He deserved the MVP. He won it for a reason. But Brady at 2? Are you kidding? Brady didn't win the Super Bowl. He did what he had to do, and his defense won the Super Bowl. The 2 games before that, Brady didn't do shit. He threw 3 interceptions in each of those games, and somehow Brady is the number 2 quarterback. In the middle of the season, Brady struggled, and his team was losing because of him. He turned it on at the end of the season. Don't get me wrong. I've admitted that. I claimed he was dead in the middle of the season, and he turned it on for that stretch run when they needed him most. And then he had 1 good game in the playoffs against the worst playoff team ever, literally, and then 2 terrible games where his defense and the lack of the other team ended up allowing him to win, and then a Super Bowl where he did what he had to do and he threw what he had to do. And if there was one guy who stood out on defense, he wouldn't have won the MVP, so don't bring up that crap on me either. So to have him at 2 is insane to me. He was not the second best quarterback in the NFL in 2021. Not even close in 2020, the 2020 season and the 2021 playoffs. So, not even close. I would put both. First of all, Josh Allen deserves to be way higher than 5. He was better than Watson for sure. That's insanely insulting. When you're talking entire season that Josh Allen had plus the playoff games, and you're saying Watson is better than him? Listen. No, Watson didn't make it. Watson is a great quarterback, definitely a top 5 NFL quarterback, but we're talking this season entirely, and you don't have Josh Allen at least number 2, then you're wrong. I don't care who you are, you're wrong. Brady being 2 is insane. I think Mahomes and Watson could be above Brady, but Allen should at least be number 2 ahead of Mahomes, because again, yes, Mahomes had the better team, the better record, but it wasn't because of him. It was Josh Allen was the reason his team won and consistently won and did everything he needed to in the regular season, into the postseason, until that last game when we lost. But I mean, it's insane to me. So my ranking would be Rodgers, Allen, Mahomes, Watson, Brady. So totally having Brady at 2 is insane to me.
So you did a lot of talking there.
Yes.
You did a lot of talking.
I had to explain it all because this ranking is nuts. This ranking is nuts. It's absolutely unjustifiable.
My man's went into a dissertation over there.
This actually, just to preface, this came from NFL.com. It was their poll, not ESPN. ESPN then debated it on one of their shows. But NFL.com did this original poll. They're both dead wrong for putting Brady at 2.
Okay, so you mean to tell me 40 touchdowns versus 12 interceptions is not good?
No,
that's Brady's stats. That's the second most passing touchdowns the man has had in his career since 2007, when he led the league at MVP with 50 touchdowns when he had Randy Moss. So you mean to tell me that that's not a good
just
season?
Quarterback play you're talking.
Right.
Just the quarterback.
40 touchdowns to 12 interceptions.
The entire season. You're not just looking. Is this just numbers? Great. Then we can list just the numbers. That's not what this list was supposed to be. It's the quarterback play in the entire season. Not just numbers. Don't give me, he threw for 5,000 yards and whatever.
But to be honest, looking at the question, I don't think that's even. I think I think you are adding things to it to rank the players. It's saying basically going into the 2021 season, who they feel are going to be the top 5 quarterbacks. Like you're adding.
That's not what the original poll was. No, it was the top 5.
The question says top 5 starting quarterbacks in 2021. So
so Sterling must have written it wrong then, because this was
one just made it my own.
NFL. Yeah, he put his own twist on it. But NFL.com did a poll of the play in the 2020 to 2021 postseason, and all of 2020 and the 2021 postseason, right? And the quarterback play was ranked. What quarterbacks played better than what quarterbacks? So they're saying Rodgers was the best in that time. Brady was the second best, which again is crazy to me, just putting Brady there. And then Mahomes, Watson, Allen for that time. It has nothing to do with the coming season or whatever. It was just what we've saw over the past 1 year of NFL.
We're going to come back to you on that, Anthony. Spence, what you got, bro?
Well, I was trying to find the poll that he's talking about, but I'll find it eventually. I'm going to be honest. I agree with this poll. I think it's spot on. And as much as I love Josh Allen, I do think that he was second in, I feel that he should have been second in voting for MVP. 100%. I mean, first of all, Tom Brady did win the Super Bowl. Like, he is the MVP of the Super Bowl. Yes. And, you're right.
There's only 1 year. We're talking 1 year here, not 7.
Okay, so we're talking 1 year. So to Sterling's point, he started to throw out the stats here. You're looking at 401 completions on 610 attempts. He had 65% completion percentage, which is below Josh Allen's 69%. But here's the kicker: he had 4,633 yards. 7.5 yards per attempt, 40 touchdowns, man. Like, I know he started off rough. It was a new team, completely new system, new players. He looked pretty bad, but I'm gonna tell you what, if you go back and really just watch Tom Brady, I get we hate him. I get in Buffalo, yes. He burned us like twice a year for 17 years. 20 years. I get it. But if we're gonna be realistic and we want to actually like give honest, unbiased content here, there's no way I'm going to say that Josh Allen should be ranked above Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson is a toss-up, and this is the reason why. He had a similar statistical season that Josh Allen had with far less talent. They completely gutted that team. They made him look like first of all, the line was injured. They sent away the best weapon that he had in Hopkins. David Johnson was a shell of himself that we've seen in the past. He had some moments. He had some moments there for him. They granted Kenny Stills' request and they let him go. And, so who did he have there? I mean, you're throwing to nobody. Cooks. You got Brandon Cooks. Come on, man. Like Brandon Cooks.
But if you're going to make that argument for him, you have to do the opposite for Brady. He had the best weapons. I mean, you could argue Mahomes too, but Brady had the best weapons of the others by far. More than Rodgers, more than Watson, more than Allen. By far, one of the most talented rosters ever on offense.
I'm not debating the talented roster.
Yeah, both of you guys are right, but MVP, that most valuable to your team. So I think you may be talking more about more MVP status, Anthony. Whereas Brady, hold on,
it was played in 2020, and
hold on, but intangibles do play into it, and just because Brady had more weapons. They did win another Super Bowl, and if they didn't have Tom Brady, they're not winning that Super Bowl. I don't care who it is.
You put Jameis back on that team, they might not even make the playoffs.
Right? So
maybe not. That's stretch run.
As much as we hate Brady, he has a role to play. He has something to say, and he did this year. He won a damn title, right? He won a title. Another.
They need it. I have nothing to say there. I ate it on this show. By week 10, by week 12, even. They looked dead. To me, they weren't even going to make the playoffs, Tampa Bay. And then Tom Brady did what he did and turned it on for the last 5 games of the season, like incredibly. Granted, against subpar, opponents, whatever you want to say, he did it. He got the job done. He got in there. He got a great matchup in the first round that he could have won blindfolded walking backwards. But they won that game. The defense won 2 more games when he wasn't at his best. He got lucky there. Yeah, he didn't have to play his best because the defense won the games for him. And the other team failed. So, and then in the Super Bowl, same thing. The defense stepped up, and Brady did Brady. That's all he had.
Brady made plays.
Nothing I can say there. Yes,
Brady made plays.
He did what he had to do. He did nothing special. He didn't really do anything superpowered.
I wouldn't say that.
He didn't do anything superpowered.
He's never done anything supernatural, superpower, but it's all between the ears of Brady. And that's what
he took advantage of every single opportunity Kansas City
did. For me,
every single one. Like,
you
want to give me the ball?
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Touchdown.
There you go.
But that's why Tom Brady's the GOAT because of what's up here. And I think I even actually on my pod this week I actually made the argument because the other poll that's up about Tom right now, which is killing me, is that they're considering him a top athlete of all time. Now, while I understand you play football, professional football at that, and you take hits, and there is there's a part of athleticism to even make the team. So I get that. But when you're talking about greatest athlete of all time, just because he's won 7 Super Bowls does not make him you know what I mean? Like there's no way that I'm gonna put him over. First of all, Serena, we don't have to get into like that debate, but I'm saying like there's no way I'm putting him over certain people.
You actually just said one of the names that I just thought of, Serena Williams.
Well, to me, she's the greatest athlete. But
she didn't get pregnant for God's sake.
Right, you win anyway. Yeah. But I did want to make a comment, if it's okay, about Thomas Burke's comment here. He said if Brady gets credit for Super Bowl, then Watson has to get credit for 4-12. Come on, I agree. He's getting credit that his team was 4-12. They didn't make the playoffs. They didn't win. What I'm talking about when we were talking about quarterback play specifically, I'm not talking about, MVP rankings. I'm not talking about how good the teams are. We're talking about if you're just taking quarterback play. Man, Watson still looked like he looked great with no roster on that 4-12 team. I would tune in and watch them every week, even though I knew they were going to lose because Deshaun Watson is that electric. So when we're talking about quarterback play, I still put Watson over Josh. And when I tell you splitting hairs, it's like literally I'm taking the sharpest razor and the smallest. Just the smallest.
You mean like overall rankings, or are you?
Well,
saying
that's what I thought the question was.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the question was overall rankings, or even. But even if you want to say for the season,
here, because I kind of agree with you on the Watson. Where could you Watson and Allen? If somebody said, "Oh, I think Watson's better than Allen," I'm not gonna say they're crazy. I'm gonna say, okay, there's you could go either way there at this point because Watson is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Nobody has him ranked lower than that, period. Right? I mean, no matter how bad his team was this year, it's not because of him, right? So, yeah, I mean, I could see that argument. But this season, in terms of the way Allen played, was MVP caliber, was second best player in the NFL, period, to me. Josh Allen, second best player in the NFL in the 2020 season. Okay. Period. So that's why he should be number 2 on that list to me.
I still disagree. I still disagree, and that's okay. I still, if I'm being honest, I still take the list that they put the way that they did. Aaron Rodgers obviously had the best season, period. Yeah. Now, again, Josh was second in MVP voting. I do believe that Josh was the most valuable to his team. Mm-hmm. However, if you look at what Tom Brady did with that roster, he had a great roster, but I'm saying Tom Brady, as far as quarterback play, not talking value to the team. I'm talking about just the play itself. Tom Brady, he kind of outperformed Josh there. Josh did different things, man. He did different things.
I would want to see them break it down by what because, in my mind, I'm thinking, do you get points for this good game and then lose a couple points for maybe a bad game or something? Because that's what I'm thinking in terms of, you're saying those last 5 games that Brady had, which he was phenomenal in, unbelievably phenomenal. Those were sky high level points for him, right? Mm-hmm. But that middle of the stretch when he was looking terrible and he was the reason they lost a couple games, Josh Allen was never that reason why we lost games.
Josh Allen had his dips, ebbs and flows. Every quarterback does in the season.
But he wasn't the reason we lost, ever in this season. We only lost 3 games in the regular season.
But Josh Allen also has a good defense behind him and great structure from top to bottom.
Yes, but his quarterback play overall was more consistent in the season than Tom Brady's was, because Tom Brady had a significant dip, whereas Josh Allen never saw that.
However, if we were to put Josh Allen in the same position that Tom Brady outshines Josh Allen. I mean, think about it. Tom Brady goes to a whole new city, a whole new team, whole new weapons, and the chemistry. And they didn't even practice in Tampa because it was.
Let me ask you this.
There's definitely something to be said for that. Yeah. Might be why he turned it on when he did.
Well, Anthony, let me ask you this. Now, this is a nightmare of a question, but let me ask you this: the way the physical ability that we saw out of Tom Brady this season, you take Tom Brady off of that team and you put him on the Buffalo Bills. Do we go further than we did, or are we still eliminated by Kansas City?
The only reason I'll say no right now is because of the offensive line. Tom Brady can't run around like Allen can, right? So, but
he also gets the ball out the quickest out of anybody in the league.
Exactly. If he was protected, yes, I would say. And it hurts me to say that.
But I feel like even without protection, he will do the same thing he did in New England without a line. We have Cole Beasley, we have Stephon Diggs, we have John. We have Gabriel Davis, guys who get separation very quickly. Tom Brady will eat up a defense if he had the weapons that we have, and I guarantee you, if Tom Brady was on this team, if Tom Brady was on this team, Motor would have looked a little bit different because the pass he uses running backs differently than Josh Allen. So what I'm saying is, I know in Buffalo we hate Tom, man. Like, I get it. I got beat up from my pod last week because I did this whole thing about how, the GOAT wanted his belt back. The champ wanted his belt back. So, and people are like, this is Tom Brady, man. Listen, Tom is gone out of New England. I'm enjoying the last couple years of greatness that we get to see, because I didn't get to enjoy it when he was in New England because I'm a Bills fan. So I'm gonna enjoy this version of Tom.
Yeah, I agree, man. If Tom Brady was the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, the Bills win the Super Bowl. That's facts, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I really am. Like,
I'm gonna agree.
I can admit it.
I'm gonna agree with that style here because it hurts. Nobody hates Tom Brady more than I do. But
I know.
You just asked me the question, and I had to say yes, right? And I did. If he was protected in the O-line, yes, that's the only way.
Well, so when I asked that question, the way you answered it, then, to me, there's no way I can put Josh Allen in front of Tom Brady. Like, if it's clear that if we switch them, because and same thing, I love Josh just as much as you guys. Like, Buffalo, we're in love with that guy. If Josh Allen was on the Buccaneers, they don't win the Super Bowl, and it's not because of the ability.
Even if you just looked at the 2020 regular season without the postseason, because obviously Brady got the check mark there, you won it all. But if we looked at just the 2020 regular season, I don't think anybody would have said, "Oh yeah, Tom Brady over Josh Allen" at that point, because Josh Allen was the MVP. He was playing fire, getting better every game, right?
But I think you're confusing. I think you're confusing value to the team with quarterback play.
Again, for me, it comes down to how are they assigning what happened during the season? Because yes, maybe Tom Brady's a better quarterback, right? That's what you're kind of saying, right?
What happened during the season is that he threw 3 more touchdowns and 100 more yards.
Touchdowns. That's without the rushing touchdowns.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns. Josh had 8. So I mean, he had 5 more than him, but he had 3.
So that
so what I'm saying is, that evens out.
It does. It really does. I can point to 2 games if Tom Brady was quarterback and the Bills don't lose, and I will go Kansas City and Tennessee. The Bills don't lose.
Oh no, because the Tennessee game we know was bullshit because of the COVID and all that. But
if Tom Brady was if Tom Brady was there, the team would have shown up to play for that game.
Why? No, let me tell you why. It's because Josh Allen wasn't ready for those zone coverages that Tennessee played, right? And Tom Brady is Brady.
No, it had nothing to do with that.
I think it does. No. Because those games,
those boys ain't want to play.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they didn't
want to play.
Them boys ain't want to play, man. Against Tennessee.
The Kansas City game is your argument.
If Tom Brady was on his team and we went down to Tennessee with all that stuff happening, Tom Brady would have had them boys like, look, this. I don't know what y'all thought. Y'all coming acting like y'all don't want to play. I'm Tom Brady. It would have been a different thing. And Josh is learning. Josh is going to be. Listen, Josh is hungry. He got that fire. So you give Josh a year or two, another after these heartbreaks. Did you see him sitting there on the sideline after this loss?
Yeah.
We're going to see another level of anger out of Josh. So Josh is going to be there. He just wasn't there this year. So ain't no diss to Josh. Josh is my guy.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's a reason why Tom Brady has also played with great defenses through his career. I'm not going to act like he just was dominant every single year and won every single Super Bowl by himself. But what I'm saying is Tom has been there and he has that experience that we need Josh to get. And I know people don't like to talk about the intangibles in that way, but if we're talking about quarterback play, I'm taking that mental 10 times out of 10 because Tom Brady will do things even with less physical ability. He can still do things with. It's just amazing what Tom does, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on and move. Let's keep it moving, shall we? Daniel Jeremiah. Now, this is one of my favorite draft scouts, NFL analysts. He says he predicts 5 quarterbacks in the first round of the NFL draft this year, which would be completely awesome just because that just pushes talent down the board. Yes. And I want to see 5. Give me 8 quarterbacks. Throw 3 more in there that I don't know about. Throw them all in there because I need my guys to be available when the Bills pick.
31 quarterbacks, please. Yeah.
give me pick of the litter, baby. So he has Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville, obviously. But Zach Wilson coming in number 2. This quarterback from BYU had a really great year. His tangibles are off the charts. He is a really good quarterback. They have him going to the Jets. Now, I don't know if we can, count on the Jets to make any solid decisions, right? Okay, so he's banking on the Jets to make a good decision. Justin Fields to Atlanta seems like a slam dunk at this point. And I know people don't want to hear about race, but race and sports do matter. They got, Atlanta has a black general manager. Justin Fields was a kid that went to the University of Georgia and then transferred to Ohio State. There's ties there. This is, be honest, it's going to happen. You can slam dunk that one. And then you got Trey Lance, the Carolina Panthers. This is a kid that we really haven't heard or seen much about. He did have that one-game showcase early in the season, which was pretty pointless. Don't know why he did that. And they have him. He has him going to Carolina. Today they were talking about Carolina wants to make a big package for Deshaun Watson. Carolina Panthers, North Carolina. Deshaun Watson played ball at Clemson in South Carolina. The Carolina connection and all that. They're talking about 3 first-round picks and throwing in Christian McCaffrey as well. Ooh, it's rumor. We don't know.
That's not the rumor. I don't want you to look bad. It wasn't a rumor. What happened was they were on TV and they asked somebody to make bold predictions, and that was a bold prediction. And the way it was reported was as if that was actually something that was a rumor.
Okay,
it wasn't a rumor. No, I just want to make sure because I've seen it a few times. It got twisted. Yeah. It got twisted.
Yeah. Okay. But even if it's a rumor or if it's just speculation or just a thought, I mean, if you're Carolina and amongst other quarterback needy teams, I mean, I'm sure they've already had the conversation within their own organization. Wouldn't you agree to that? And then you got Mac Jones. He has Mac Jones going to New Orleans. Now, I think that Mac Jones will probably end up going to New England. I just think that it's time to hit the reset button on the Patriots. I don't think bringing in a guy like Garoppolo is going to do you any good. Garoppolo is extremely limited. So, with 5 quarterbacks being, do you guys see any issues with Daniel Jeremiah's prediction of 5 quarterbacks in round 1?
I mean, I don't see any issue with it because that's what I want.
Like you said, 8 quarterbacks in round 1. I think it sets up nicely for what my prediction so far is that the Bills will trade back into the second round. So trade out of that first pick, get more second round picks, because if there's more quarterbacks going in the first round, that means more talent falling into the second round. You can get more of the guys you want at that spot that might be available early in the second rather than late in the first, and still have your late second round pick, obviously. So, it's exciting. I love it. Draft all the quarterbacks. 1 or 2 of them will be superstars and 3 of them will be failures, but it's fine. That's the way the NFL goes, right? So draft them all, man. And I think where they have them going, their justification makes sense at this point. But they could switch, obviously. Maybe Carolina takes quarterback. Maybe the Jets take somebody else by the time the draft rolls around. You never know with that. So the prediction of where is tough, but 5 of them are talented enough to make it.
So if you guys had to start a franchise today with these 5 quarterbacks, who are you taking?
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. Yeah,
both of you guys are taking Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, he's the best talent there. There's a reason he's number 1 on that list. I think the other 4 you can debate after that. Then you have a pick. What do you want? But the first one I think is definitely Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, so my man had
who would you have at 2? Let's put it up again because I don't. Let's see.
If I had to go 2, I'd probably say Justin Fields. Okay. For today's NFL, I think Justin Fields probably number 2, and then Zach Wilson third, close third, and then I'd probably say Mac Jones over Trey Lance.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably go Zach Wilson, Mac Jones over Fields, and yeah. So I probably those two would be the next two I like.
I'm not even gonna lie and act like I watch enough college to tell you. You know what I mean? Like normally when the Bills are looking at quarterbacks, I'll look at quarterbacks. But this year, we have our guy now. Like so and I posted this the other day too. It feels good. Like in the AFC East, you got 3 teams that have questions about their starting and their backup quarterback. And the Buffalo Bills are in a position where it's like, now I would like for us to have a question about our backup quarterback room. I don't think that our quarterback room. I think we have the worst quarterback or backup quarterback room in the league. And I don't think it's I think we need to improve greatly.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Barkley, for what he does,
Trash.
Trash.
Give him a clipboard.
Why you hate Barkley so much, bro?
I don't hate I love Barkley. He's a great guy. He's a wonderful part of our community in Western New York. Yeah. I think he does great. He and his wife are amazing people. I don't want him to be the guy that comes in if Josh gets injured. Let him, if he has that much of a good relationship with Josh and he helps him development and his mental, give him a clipboard, give him a job. He could be like quarterback assistance coach or something. I don't know, whatever you want him to be.
He could be Derek Anderson.
Let's do that. But I do not need him to come in if Josh gets injured. Like I am 100%. Like I'm off. I'm off.
Well, they did draft Fromm for a reason, right?
Trash.
Still, 5th round pick on a quarterback. They still drafted him. Regardless, right? So who knows, man? Who knows? He probably is trash. He probably I got my own beef with Zach Fromm, whatever that dude,
the problem with Jake Fromm is that for our roster, I'm not saying that he's trash. He played pretty good at Georgia. He had his moments that made you say, well, maybe this kid could be good. So there's things there. The thing is, when you draft a guy like Josh, why I still do not understand from the standpoint of GMs and NFL coordinator or whatever. I do not understand why you draft a guy that's completely opposite of what you have on your roster. Now, I do get if your guy gets injured, you want your backup to basically play a safer game. So if Josh is a scrambler, you don't want this guy to get injured because then really what are you going to do after that? I don't care. Go and get somebody that's talented that can do what Josh does and have your third guy be your safe guy. I don't want to, if you have a roster like this year, if Josh would have gotten injured, there's no 13-3 season. So you need to be able to have a guy that can show up and still absolutely help you win some games. I'm not talking about against the Jets 2 years ago. I'm talking about a real football game against a real football team. And that's not what we have on this roster. Are you confident that if Josh goes down, Jake Fromm can give us 3 weeks and go 2-1? Even in our division,
we
the way it was this year.
Just nobody knows the answer to that. We haven't seen it in the preseason,
he could if Najee Harris or Travis Etienne is at running back.
There you go.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way and I don't care if we got Steph Diggs. There's no way I'm putting Jake Fromm back there going into the season being confident. Like, what? Bring me Tyrod back before I put in Jake Fromm. What are you talking about?
Or just give me Fitz. Give me Fitz magic.
Jesus.
We like it.
I love Fitz. No, like I have an issue because Josh is my guy, and I think I posted this during the season. Like Fitz is that ex that is like Fitz is the ex that things wouldn't work out. They're toxic. Everything about your relationship is horrible, but the sex is so great and you miss them so much. That's what Fitz is to me. Really, that's what Fitz is. Because dude. When he's doing the Fitz magic thing, that's the best sex in the world. When he's doing that thing and he's out there and it's like, oh, Fitz, and then he's at the podium after the game and he's so funny and he's charming and he's just everything. And it's like, this guy's so perfect. Then you give him the extension and then he loses 7 games out of the next 9. It's like, what the hell?
Spence, you striking a chord. My question is, does she cuddle? Does she cuddle? Hey, can I get a sandwich afterwards? Can you give me a sandwich?
You want some juice?
Some juice.
Oh,
hey, I'm parched. Can I get some juice?
Bro, you got me about to drink some juice now.
You started it. Hey, that's hilarious, though. The ex, that toxic ex. Oh, boy, do I have a lot of those.
Moving on.
Hey. And we're on to the next. Okay. All right. So anyway, speaking of exes, we have a situation where people are still talking about this JJ Watt thing. JJ Watt ain't coming to Buffalo. And I know, look, people are getting all, creamy about, Well, he posted a picture with a blue and a red heart and chicken wings. Like, bro, everybody's chicken wings. Like,
and so what?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, he wasn't at Duff's. They make chicken wings, and I'm pretty sure all the states. So I don't think we're gonna get JJ Watt. However, rumors have it that he has an interest in the Browns. We don't know that for sure. He could be asking around $17 million a season, and if that's his asking price, the Bills are definitely going to say
nobody's paying him that. Nobody is paying him $17 million a season. Nobody.
A couple teams.
Somebody will.
Yeah, maybe like Jacksonville, but he's not going to those teams. He's going to teams that are competing right now in a season where the cap is cut. Cleveland doesn't even have that much money.
Cleveland has money.
Yeah, I think Cleveland has about 24 million. I think they have like 24 million
really?
cap space. Yeah.
And they're going to waste it on one guy? I don't know about that.
Look at Indiana, too.
But
I feel like Indianapolis is a team that he could look at that people sleep on.
I don't know. You do bring up that the point of why he definitely is not coming to Buffalo. Sorry, again, fans out there who are clamoring for him to come to Buffalo.
Just the money. Definitely not, though.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to win a Super Bowl, if his number one thing is I want to win a Super Bowl, he'll come to Buffalo.
Listen, I'll tell you why
he's going to go to some team that is willing to pay him at least $10 million or somewhere near that. The Bills aren't going anywhere near $10 million. We can't.
The Bills will absolutely give him $10 million.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, they would. But I'll tell you why.
But I don't want to. I don't want to go to $10 million. I don't want to. Don't give him that. Look, is he somebody who would help this team? Yes. Would I love to have him on the team? Sure. He's a talent, but he's injury prone. We don't know. He's getting worse as he gets older. And paying him $10 million a year.
Just wait. He's younger than Jerry Hughes.
Yeah.
He's missed less games.
No.
I'm about to. It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Look it up.
That's no game.
Bro. Go look it up.
Yeah. JJ Watt is Iron Man, dude.
I hear what you're saying. I hate hearing this. He's injury prone type thing.
He's not.
JJ Watt is a game changer, and he has played injured. He's a tough guy. He's listen. I'm gonna tell you right now. If his number is anywhere around $10 million, the Buffalo Bills will sign him. He will be in red, white, and blue if his number is at $10 million.
Ultimately, it's his own choice of where he goes, right?
Well,
I think if the team offers him $25 million, he's going to say no. If I think the Bills are the team to win me a Super Bowl, I'm going to Buffalo or Cleveland. If as is reported today that he's interested in Cleveland, he thinks they're ready to take the next step, and he could be the guy to bring him there. I don't see why he's thinking that Cleveland. I mean,
I'll tell you why.
Let
me get this point out here, and I'll tell you why Cleveland and Pittsburgh are way better choices than the Bills even. You go to Cleveland, you don't have to be pass rusher number one. You got Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
JJ Watt had 10 sacks by himself. Just think if you pair him up with Myles Garrett, what he's going to do on that defensive line.
Double team them both.
So
that's going to be tough.
Your point is taken, and it's a great point, Sterling. So now think about this, though. So this year, the Buffalo Bills really didn't have a guy that was eating up any double teams. Starr is coming back. And you saw what Starr did when we had Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips. You bring a guy you bring him back.
Yeah.
Let's bring Starr back. He's going to eat up double teams. You bring a guy like JJ Watt. He's going to eat up double teams. You talk about Jerry Hughes, Epinesa. You talk about my guy. I'm just saying, you talk about my guy Ed Oliver.
Right.
I'm just telling you, got two guys that can eat up double teams. This situation in Buffalo is very sexy.
It is
very sexy.
It is, but all I'm saying is, and if we're talking about production with Starr coming back, Ed Oliver's about to have an All-Pro season.
Oh yes,
and that's coming up.
And out of those three teams, the three teams you mentioned, we have the best quarterback.
Yes,
that's true. Hey, that's true.
The best chance.
However, now Pittsburgh, both his brothers are there. Right?
Sure,
he sees them every Thanksgiving. He sees them for Christmas.
But is Big Ben going to be there?
He saw them 31 years of his life. He'll be fine.
Are you confident you can win with Big Ben or whoever replaces him if he ends up not being there? No, not as much as you are with Josh Allen or even the Browns for that matter, or some other team that he could Indy, as Spence brought up, which I thought that's definitely an out there idea, but who knows?
Hey. So okay, that's JJ Watt. Kawan's short. Listen.
Yeah.
You want to talk about injury prone? Kawan Short is injury prone, and my guy, his statistically, okay, he hasn't had since 2015. I think he had 11 sacks in 2015 or something like that, and he's 6, 7.5, 3, 0 in 2019 and 0 in 2020 due to injury. I mean, I think he's a very serviceable. He's a good defensive tackle. However, it depends on the price.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What do you think he commands as a price? What would you pay for him? $5 million?
I'll pay $7 million. I'll pay $7 or $8 million, and I get rid of Vernon Butler. He could take Vernon Butler's
that
salary.
makes sense. Sure.
Yeah.
Spence, would you do that? Because for me, it's just
an upgrade. He'd be an upgrade over big time.
I tell you what, I just boldly said that there's no chance J.J. Watt signs with the Bills. I firmly believe that. I don't think he will, but there is a high chance of him coming here because why? Where did he play last? The Carolina.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I get so tired of that. I get so tired of the damn Carolina.
I know it's terrible, but it's true.
Why do you get tired of it?
Because it's like there's no surprise. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to be like razzle dazzle, like woo me, baby. Like I need some surprise. Give me Curtis Samuel. You give me Curtis Samuel, and I'm straight.
Well, I mean, I understand what you mean. Like, there's no razzle dazzle, and there's no. I get that, but at the same time, when you think about it, I got in a huge debate with somebody about this because somebody kept saying, "Oh, it's like it's not working. We got to stop this shit."
No.
My thing is like, bro, we were just in the AFC Conference Championship, so I don't care how many people Brandon Beane brings from North Carolina, South Carolina, East Carolina, West Carolina. I don't care where they come from. If we're making it to every year, we're going further. So listen, I don't care who he brings from Carolina. He can bring the kicker that got cut last season. Make him on the practice squad. If it helps for morale in the locker room, whatever Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott is doing is working. I don't care how many people are on the train coming from North Carolina.
I will say this about this move that does make sense that they are good at, Beane and McDermott, and that is a veteran. Like, look at this year with Darrell Williams, right? We paid him $2 million to be one of the best tackles in the NFL this year, and he's going to cash in on that. So now this is the type of player where, as you mentioned, Sterling, he's been injured the last 2 years, totally underperformed, but what do Buffalo have going for them? Well, we're a great team now, so it's attractive for free agents. But we also have the best facilities in the NFL. The best, hands down, in terms of injuries and rehabilitating players and getting them to play at the top of their game. And I think that there is something to be said of that. Great. You want to come to Buffalo? We'll give you a 1-year deal to prove yourself worthy of getting the top dollar next time. So maybe they bring him in for $3 to $5 million for 1 year, just to see what he can do, and then have him play up to his ability and cash in the next year.
I'm of the position, or I'm taking the perspective of I don't want to waste money. This was our original window. So this year coming up, like we were a year ahead of schedule this year with Diggs and Josh playing how we played. So this year coming up is really the year that we thought, okay, we got a shot at this thing. I don't want to waste money on an injury-prone guy like that. And again, we just talked about how JJ had injuries. We talked about how other people had injuries. But what I'm saying is, if you have a shot and you have a window, go for it, man. Stop. Forget him. If you're going to spend money on your defensive line, you need somebody that's disruptive. Due to injury, he hasn't been disruptive for some time. JJ Watt with injury has still been disruptive. He draws a double team every single play. If I'm the Buffalo Bills and you're talking about defensive line, dude,
but you just got done saying the right thing, that you trust what Beane and McDermott do. And I think I trust their evaluation of players in terms of, was he just injury prone because of a certain thing that we think we can fix or something? Whatever the scouts, whatever the doctors and all that say, they trust that evaluation enough to say, we're going to put this number on.
I trust them.
2 million, 5 million, whatever it is, versus a JJ Watt is going to cost you at least.
But see, I trust them, but there's things that there's different factors that come along with each signing. So I trust them. So initially, the Carolina thing was about culture. So I trusted them to change the culture. They did that. Then I trusted them to fix the offensive weapons. They did that. Then I trusted them to build a championship mindset. They did that. Now I don't need culture. I don't need you to bring me a guy that's still trying to prove himself. I don't need you to. Now we're a great team, and we need one or two more pieces to push us over the top. I don't need guys who need to prove themselves. Right. Give me a proven guy to push me over.
But here's my counterpoint.
Think different now, bro.
But here's my counterpoint to that. You only have so much money and so many positions to fill. And we're going to get on the topic of tight ends here soon too. And
wait, go ahead, finish that part. No, finish that part though.
Which position do you want to invest in? Right? Do you invest in the defensive end for $10 million that is JJ Watt, the difference maker, or do you sign somebody like Short for $2.5 million? Who kind of fills one of those needs and can be one of those players. Granted, he's not going to be the only one you bring in because he's not J.J. Watt, but you can bring in multiple players for that $10 million that you'd give J.J. Watt versus signing a tight end for $8 million and an offensive lineman for $8 million or something like that, right? So there's only so much money to go around to fill these positions. Matt Milano and Darrell Williams being the priorities in-house that we want to re-sign.
Not for me. You can get me on Matt Milano.
Just on the free agent. I'm also concerned now that he's probably not going to be.
I have a name that nobody's talking about.
Well, wait, before you do that, Gerald, because Anthony just had this whole thing about, well, how much do you want to spend and where you want to invest it? Okay, so the Buffalo Bills spent
a lot of money on D-line.
A lot of money on a defensive line this year with no real type of
nothing good.
Like we were the highest or most overpaid defensive line because we didn't perform.
Yes.
So if you take the Butler contract, if you take the Jefferson contract, you take the contract of the guys that we overpaid that didn't perform, and you just replace those guys with a JJ Watt. I'm just saying. No, but what I'm saying, you're spending that money. That money is spent on the defensive line already, and we're not getting the production that we are spending for. So if you're going to go for it, you spend on the guy that can push you over. Now, I think real talk. Now, I'm just answering questions for what you got. But real talk, I think the offensive line is the most important part in the offseason this year. Like hands down, like
give me a blocker.
On my show today, the show was, is it worth signing JJ Watt in Buffalo? So all the stuff that I'm saying to you, like, yeah, he's going to be great. And if I'm the Bills, real talk, I don't want him. Because real talk, I want a solid offensive line with depth. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I don't want him because he's not good. Is that I value having Josh stay in the pocket more often than him running, taking unnecessary hits. And I value having a running game when we need it. So
I assume you mean a guard. Is that who you want to bring in? Or you're saying Darrell Williams?
No, I'm saying an offensive line. Yeah. So we have pieces. So, obviously we got our left tackle. We got Ford. We got Williams. I think we're going to re-sign Williams. I think we'll re-sign Feliciano. And I think we'll keep, obviously, Morris. I think they might try to restructure. But so we got 5 guys, but we need depth, and we need to improve on some things. I'm still not sold on Cody Ford. I'm just not.
Give me a pass. Give me a run blocking guard. That's what we really need the most on that offensive line. But you got to pay up for that too in the free agency or draft if that's where you end up going. But obviously, in that case, you probably want a sure thing in free agency more than drafting a guy who's unknown, because then you're in the same place you are with Cody Ford in my mind.
I have an idea.
At 30. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I have an idea, though. And first of all, I agree with what you guys are saying about offensive line because it's definitely needed. You can get a guy like Landon Dickerson. Hell, anybody on Alabama's offensive line, bring them. I'll take it.
Any one of them.
Because they're pancaking everybody. They're killing everybody. But before we get back into that, there's a free agent signing that I could anticipate the Bills doing, and that's AJ Boye. The Broncos released that guy. Mm-hmm. He can ball. And what you're paying Josh Norman at what was $6 million and all this kind of ish. AJ Boye is better than EJ. I mean, he's better than any CB2 we have on our squad. So that's something to look for. You heard it here first. I'm the first one who's going to say that. In Bills community, AJ Boye will be a really good cornerback in the system. But back to the offense, I agree. Offensive line, we kind of need it. And Ike Bacher is what he doesn't need to be a starter. He needs to be depth, right? Cody Ford, you're right. We don't know what Cody Ford is, but we know his best position is left guard. That's his best position, not tackle. And I was wrong. It's guard. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. You, sir. I admit when I'm wrong. Okay. But it's left guard. Okay. And then Feliciano, I can kind of do without Feliciano, honestly. I know what he means to the offensive line of Josh Allen and so forth, but what you're going to have to pay him,
he already came out of production.
I don't care. Well, yeah, Matt Milano wants to say, is he going to?
flat out
at the
said,
end of the day,
stay.
They got families to feed, and they want the best money, best contract that they can get. So I like Feliciano. I just think that you could probably do a little bit better. Okay,
I see him staying.
Yeah,
it's possible. It's
because
possible.
we don't have who's the next mean guy on the team other than Felipe. Who's going to stand up for your guys on the field?
No, for real. Like I think you undervalue that, Charles. Like real talk. Like I think
there's guys out there.
Players. He is a number one, and nobody else is even close.
Listen, I don't know what y'all. A nice guy can block his ass off too. You don't have to be just.
No, it's not about blocking. No, we're not talking about blocking.
It's rough and
what are we talking about? Offensive line.
You got to have a certain.
Yeah.
You got to have a certain grit. You have to have a certain anger on that line, man. Dude, you could clearly see it when he came back. Exactly. You could see how the rest of the team,
everything stepped up.
Offensive line was completely different. I'm telling you, it matters, bro. It does.
Exactly. Yes. A little bit, but I think you guys are maybe putting a little too much emphasis on it. All I'm saying is this. Deion Dawkins gives the line as much swag and like
if you want to hug somebody.
Right.
Yeah, you want to party and dance. He ain't
he's not getting in anybody's
no, man, y'all not gonna do my guy like that.
Nobody's doing your guy wrong. I love Deion.
You can be mean as hell all you want, but Feliciano, he ain't. Listen, if you want to put him at center,
nobody is saying talent level is the same.
But that matters. That matters.
No, we're not saying it doesn't.
Just because he's mean, doesn't mean that he's great.
But nobody's saying he's
your talent.
But you guys say, well, we got to keep him. We got to keep him.
No,
because he's mean.
If you think Feliciano's a bad offensive lineman?
He's not bad. He's average.
But if you bring somebody who's twice as good as Feliciano, but is also not the personality that Feliciano is, you're taking something away while you're adding something. Is the superior guard play more important? Sure, I think everybody would sign up for that. But there is something to be said about that grit and that personality and that I'm defending my guys no matter what on this field. Because nobody else really does that.
Locker room cohesiveness is major, man. Like, and
we have enough guys.
We have cohesiveness because Feliciano's there. That offensive line they didn't perform, and they also didn't vibe like that when he was out. I'm telling you, man, like that matters, bro. It matters so much that people come to work and want to work with the guys they're standing next to. That matters.
No, it does. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm saying we have enough nucleus within our locker room to sustain Feliciano leaving. I think you can.
Well, yeah, we do.
I think you can upgrade from Feliciano day one in a draft. You can. There's like 3 or 4 guards that are better than John Feliciano is right now that the Bills could take at the end of round 1. That's better than him right now, and save the money. That's all I'm saying. We don't have to have, and I'd rather have a Darrell Williams at right tackle.
I don't necessarily want a rookie on my offensive line.
Yeah, there's always a risk because then
are both of y'all Eric Brown tonight.
No, I'm not. And this is weird. You know, me and Anthony normally don't agree, but it's like the thing is, we drafted Ford in the second round a couple years back. You know, and now trust me, there are guys that are absolutely wonderful. Like we've seen guys come into the league and just be amazing, just beast. The kid from Indianapolis that like he's been a Pro Bowl guard every single year of his career. He's going to the Hall of Fame even if the Colts never win. Like he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's that good. I don't think we're going to get somebody like him at 30. If we're going to get Nelson at 30, man, draft all day. Like let Feliciano go. If we can get somebody like that at 30, you can let whoever you want on the O-line go.
But there was a top 10 picks in this draft.
I can tell you right now, I got 3 or 4 guys right now at pick 30 that will probably be there that is better than Feliciano day one. And I'm just telling you right now, I'm telling you, trust me on this. Y'all, Spitz, Anthony, y'all know I do my research and my homework. I'm telling you,
I do that evaluation, but I think it comes down to what I said earlier.
He's average, though.
You can draft a guard in the first round if that's absolutely the guy you're going all in with, but there's certainly more risk involved in going with a rookie than going with somebody you absolutely know what they're doing.
Anytime you draft, there's always risk involved.
You're also using that draft capital that you could have used on another position when we know there's plenty of people we love at that spot right now. Right around that spot. So if there's more,
Thomas is saying,
I'll give you a third third-round guy that I think right now is better than John Feliciano, Trey Smith. That man is 6'6", 320 pounds, and he is all nasty. All nasty.
You know who I'm actually like very interested to see how he developed over the year, and plus I want to see how the development has affected him during this offseason now coming. I want to see what Trey Adams does.
I was hoping you'd say that because
that you mentioned Trey Adams.
I was high on him last offseason.
I was too. Yeah, I was too. Remember,
keep him on the roster, let him grow, and see what he can do.
And that's what I said. I actually thought he was going to make for me, he was a sleeper pick to make the team. Right. You know, he was first round talent earlier in his college days, and you know, injuries and whatever else had him drop, and his combine was horrible. But listen, there's something there, and the Buffalo Bills have a great offensive line coach. We have a great, we just have a great system here. So I'm actually curious to see. Listen, if they develop Josh like that, and they develop like, I'm impressed with the staff that we have, because not just Josh. You've seen us develop players on this roster. So if you can develop players like that, I don't see a reason why we couldn't develop Trey Adams, and he comes into the this year coming up, and he surprises people like, hey, okay, I figured out what it takes to play in the NFL. I might not be good, like I might not be the greatest the first year, but I'm learning what it means to be a professional. I'm learning what my body has to go through in order to do this. And then he comes out and does it. Who's to say that can't happen?
Would love it. That would be tier right there.
I mean, that would be ideal, but we don't know.
He's a tackle more than a guard, at least as far as we know. Anyway, that's his position.
We need a tackle over on that right side.
If we don't sign, even if we do resign Williams, we still need another backup that can come in and spell. Williams.
But can't Williams play guard?
He can.
But that's not his position.
That's when he struggled.
That's why we got him for $2 million, because they played him at guard a lot toward the last few years due to injuries, not just because of him, but because of guys around him. He had to play guard, but his position is right tackle, as we saw.
What the hell happened to Nsekhe this year?
He's old.
No, I mean, I know he's old. I'm not even saying what happened. Like, did he get injured? I'm saying, like, this guy literally got paid to sit on the bench and give people high fives all year.
Yeah, I take that job. I could have did what he did this year.
Let me get the backup kicker position. Let me get the practice squad kicker.
Hey, we going to Sizzler, baby.
Let's get it.
We eat steak and lobster and everything every day, boy. Yeah. We eating good. Hey, so I know we kind of went off on the offensive line, which is a great debate and a great discussion. And I guess we hit the draft thing. So we'll kind of go into what we wanted to talk about tonight, and that's the tight end as a position in 2021. So my guy up here, Anthony, on our Making the Case series, they talked about the tight end position. Spence, you and I talked about the tight end position a couple weeks ago on Code of Conduct. And you and I talked about Isaiah Hodges being maybe a dark horse tight end candidate. Now, Isaiah Hodges is a 6'3". I think he's 215, 220. But here's the deal. He's not he wouldn't be a traditional tight end. He would be a big slot move tight end. He would be, I mean, the Bills did use their H-back on, what's his name?
Gilliam.
Reggie Gilliam this year. So it's not a foregone conclusion that Isaiah Hodges could potentially take snaps at tight end this year. I think it's a very fair thing.
Depends on what you're calling tight end. To me, that's not.
You're thinking traditional tight end,
like a 2 tight end set where he's really the 4th wide receiver who's a second tight end.
Let me tell you something though.
That's okay to me.
Who's the best tight end? Who's the best tight end coming in this draft?
Oh, Pitts by far.
Kyle Pitts. And he don't block shit. He is a pure weapon.
He's
all
Travis
I'm saying is my guy Hodges at move tight end could be a pure weapon. This is a guy that due to injury, he had a shoulder injury this year, as we all know, but he had probably the best hands in last year's draft.
True.
I mean, in my opinion, he's a better route runner than Gabriel Davis. He's a better route runner than Gabriel Davis. And you know,
I'll tell you the one problem I have with that. If John Brown is currently our wide receiver number 2, and Gabe Davis, after we know that Beasley's in the slot. So it depends on what's happening at the wide receiver position. If they cut John Brown, and if Gabe Davis becomes the number 2 guy, maybe we draft another guy. Remember, Isaiah McKenzie's a free agent as well. So is Roberts. So they're probably going to draft a tight end or a wide receiver somewhere to be one of those guys. But Isaiah Hodges, to me, then is a candidate to move into the Gabe Davis position. So Gabriel Davis is now your number 2. Isaiah Hodges becomes that guy who can be the number 2 or 3, whatever you want to call him, or number 4, really, on the depth chart if you're talking Cole Beasley in the slot. So if number 4 on the depth chart wide receiver could be Hodges. And like I said, if you want to call him a bodied tight end for where he lines up or whatever in a 2 tight end set, he's never going to be the tight end on the field, in my mind. I just don't see it.
Is Dawson Knox? Let's be real. Dawson Knox can't block shit. Okay, Dawson Knox can barely catch.
I'm about to say that dude can't catch. So I don't
know.
All
I'm saying is, when you go into the offseason, you don't get everything you need. Sometimes you got to try shit. And I am willing, if I am the Bills, I am willing to throw him out there because the Bills don't use they don't use a traditional tight end really. Right. Like it's matchup based, right? So just the fact that Isaiah Hodges could be that big slot move tight end is like what we saw with Jimmy Graham for so many years. It was so successful. I mean, and they spread it out a lot, right? What do you think about that, Spence?
Jimmy Graham was great for a few years there. He was
Jimmy Graham was a straight weapon. Now he was definitely more polished when it came to the intricacies of playing the tight end position. He could block, but that wasn't his calling card. He was just he just go up and get the ball. Like you couldn't stop him.
As you know, we did our Making the Case series. I did tight ends on the Friday episode. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen for sure, because I break down everything at the tight end position. But one of the things I say for sure, 100% guaranteed, is that the Buffalo Bills are making changes at tight end. There will be bodies brought in at tight end. There has to be, because where we are right now is just so limited. We only have Dawson Knox, right? Croft is a free agent. Lee Smith probably isn't going to be on the team.
Lee Smith retired, didn't he? Or he
hinted to contemplating. I don't know. He hasn't officially said he was.
An injury that he might not ever be able to play football again. So I mean, we have no tight ends. Gilliam is the next tight end to Knox on the roster, really. So we need to bring in bodies. Something has to change at the position. I don't think changing Hodges or labeling him as a tight end. He can play the position as a wide receiver 4 that you're talking about without being labeled a tight end. We need a blocker.
We need a tight end. That wouldn't be a good look for me, man. No, a couple of reasons. One, too good of a receiver. Well, this is what I really think will happen, which breaks my heart in a way, because everybody knows where my love is on this team. I think Isaiah McKenzie will be gone. I think John Brown will be gone. I think next year, Isaiah. Well, no, you and I have already talked about this. But I think John Brown is going to be gone, because I think that the team does have a lot of faith and trust in Gabriel Davis. I think he's shown a lot, especially in the playoffs. Some of those plays that he made, it's like, okay, we have a guy. And John Brown missed a very substantial amount of time this season, and we were still able to keep it trucking. So the team we were able to see, okay, we don't quite need you. You're a luxury now at this point. So it's beautiful. But here's the thing is, so when I look at the type of wide receiver / tight ends that you're talking about, Strauss, a couple guys come to mind. The first one is obviously Travis Kelce, right?
Sure.
And then Darren
Waller.
Yep. He's another one that comes to mind. So when we think about these guys, so Darren Waller is 6'6".
Yes, sir.
He's 255 pounds.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce is 6'5", 260 pounds. Isaiah Hodges is 6'3", and he's 201 pounds. So something that I've thrown this out there a little bit before. And I'm sure the Bills won't do it, but I think it'll be a good, like you said, try something, even if it's just in training camp.
Yeah.
Why not Duke? He's 6'2". Yeah. He's 200. What is Duke? Duke is 600. He's 6'3", 225 pounds. He's not the 260. But he's big enough to block. He's big enough to block. He has the hands. Josh loves him. He's a dog.
We saw him in the playoffs. Where I was going next, Spence. I don't know how you're reading my mind tonight, and we are on the same page on these.
Well, I think you just listened to the code of conduct last week. I think that's all that was.
Listen,
you just listened to my own.
We're talking about weight. I mean, you can get guys to put on pounds, right? That's not
a big guy. That's more of what Duke Williams fits that. I want to see Hodges as a wide receiver. I don't want to see Hodges put on 25 pounds and not be as good a runner or something. Bro. You know, I want to see.
Y'all don't know, but here's the thing.
You guys I want to see Isaiah Hodges do next year.
Don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. All right, we don't know what he looks like with that weight on. Like, we have some of the best nutrition and facilities in the NFL. And if there's any team that I would bank on that could pull something off like this, it would be the Buffalo Bills for sure.
The next point to what Spence was just saying about those top guys and what's in their size.
Duke, he's 28 years old. What the hell are the Bills doing with Duke Williams now? Like, you're an 8th-year senior, bro.
But that's what I'm saying.
What are we doing? What are we
doing?
Him
go then. Let him go somewhere where he can contribute.
Exactly.
Bringing this back to the tight end position, real tight ends now. There's a few guys in free agents we can talk about, but the guy in the draft that I absolutely fell in love with, and I talked about him a lot on the episode, and he's the guy I want the Bills to draft, and I will stick to that all the way through the draft, is Brevin Jordan of Miami. The guy is a receiving tight end. He jumps off the tape. He's the type of guy who will bring your offense to the next level. Now, Kyle Pitts is by far the best tight end in the draft, one of the best ever in the draft, if you ask me, talent-wise, and he's going in the top 10 for a reason, but he's not going to be available when the Bills draft. Brevin Jordan might be available in the 2nd or 3rd round, probably moving up more than down in getting closer to the draft, but I absolutely love him. He's 6'4", 245, so he fits that big size of a Kelsey and a Waller, and he has really good hands. He separates. Oh, my God. If you turn on tape of him, I think he only had like 11 contested catches this season because he gets separation. He is a true receiving threat, and I absolutely think he is the absolute best fit for the Buffalo Bills for that position of a tight end who can catch. Now, we would also need to bring in a blocker because he can block, but he's not an excellent blocker. And obviously, with Lee Smith being gone, that was his role mainly on this team. Gilliam can do that for sure.
Tommy Sweeney can do that. Tommy Sweeney can do Lee Smith's role.
Tommy Sweeney, we don't know if he's ever going to play football again because he has a heart condition. We don't know what's going to happen with him. So he's listed as non-football.
Him and Gilliam can sort that out.
Real quick, can I because I don't want it to go too far and I forget to do this. I do want everybody to know I was just talking about trying stuff. I'm not saying that I think Duke should be, because Reptile, and I love everybody in here. I hope you all don't think that I want Duke to be our starting tight end next year. That is not what I'm suggesting in any way.
No, and even what I was saying, right? Tight end.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clear that up.
Tight end is a dire position of need on this team, no matter what. So either you sign a free agent and you draft a guy and you're set. You got 3 guys who can play plus Gilliam. Then you're set at the position, or you start signing cheap guys and you start getting creative because you need tight ends on this team, period. So either you invest that capital in a guy like Brevin Jordan, who I really hope the Bills draft, or you sign a couple of guys and you need to get creative and move somebody else to tight end.
Right.
And that's where we're talking maybe Duke could be the 4th tight end on this team.
Let me clear that up. So we're talking about plan C and D. Right, we're not talking about A and B.
Yeah,
this is just hey, if we don't get, because you can't have everything in the offseason, you can't have everything in a draft. So this is just saying, hey, if we get what we really want, right? You give me Jonnu Smith.
Yes.
If we get what we really want,
big on him, and I know you cover one guys. No, the cover one guys have been really big on that. I'm not big on that. No, real talk. I mean, and I'm not saying that as a diss to cover, but I mean, I've noticed that cover one guys on Twitter, like Greg loves this dude. Like he's jonesing over this guy. And I listen. I see the intangibles, but when you look at his play, I mean, come on.
He laughs.
No, because I mean, like the way I've been seeing you guys clamoring over him. Well, for the reps that he's got, I get that, but I'm saying the way that guys have been clamoring over him. The production has not been there. There's plenty of guys that I would much rather like. Dude, last year,
you know why the production is not
favorite
there?
Stat of his.
Know why? Because they run the damn ball all the time.
My favorite stat of his 2 years ago.
That wide receiver don't have a problem catching the ball this year.
For 2019 season, Jonnu Smith led tight ends in yards after catch. Jonnu Smith. And it's because he didn't have the production of a Travis Kelce or anything. This year he had 8 touchdowns on a team where they're primarily a running team, right?
But you do know that the Bills don't necessarily need a tight end to have yards after the catch. He's a
separation, strong guy. He can also block. That's why he's on a running team.
But what we need out of our tight end for Josh Allen, for this team, we need a safety blanket. We don't need anybody. I mean, now it'd be nice if we had the guy that was all of that. If we had Travis Kelce, give me that 10 times out of 10. But what I'm saying is we don't need that. We just need somebody who can be consistently the guy to catch the ball on 3rd and 4 or whatever it is.
A guy that can
That's what we need. So when we're talking about, so I get it. We're clamoring over this kid, I can go down Twitter. I can go down Greg's timeline, and I'm sure from last Tuesday I can find 50 billion text messages or tweets about this guy. I get it. I'm just not as impressed, and maybe I just need to watch more of him.
I think so because I actually in the tight end. What I concluded, what GM Anthony would do in the tight end episode. Number 1, I want to sign Jonnu Smith, and number 2 is draft Brevin Jordan, and I think that really helps us out at the tight end position. Now, if you don't choose to invest in tight end and you sign some of the cheaper guys who we can talk about now, but I went through a couple on the episode, you can sign those cheaper guys and maybe draft 2 tight ends, one like Brevin Jordan, who is your pass catcher, and then one in the later rounds or even an undrafted guy who's more of a blocking specialist because we need that. That's going to still be a
blocking specialist.
You need a blocking tight end on this team.
That's because your offensive line couldn't get it done. That's why Lee Smith
for
was
pass
there.
Protection on Josh Allen too. You need that extra offensive lineman on those teams.
How many teams in the NFL have a tight end that just blocks?
Not just blocks, but you need a guy who can block. Period. And if you bring in a Brevin Jordan, that's not going to be his specialty. Dawson Knox said we already said that's not his specialty. Can he do it? Sure, but he's not going to be good at it, right? You want a guy. But you need to trade for
Njoku.
So trade. Yeah. I would much. So what do you think it would cost? A 3rd, 4th round draft pick?
I say
more than that.
I think you can get him 4th, 5th. And
so you mean to tell me
4th or 5th round pick?
Now, granted, I know we got Matt Milano in the 5th round. I know that we got the Buffalo Bills have done great things with late picks. Gabriel Davis was what, a 4th round pick this year, or 5th?
Mm-hmm.
So again, we've done well drafting, but you mean to tell me that you wouldn't spend a 5th round draft pick on somebody like Njoku?
So here's what I said to Njoku. Now, there was 2 trade guys who have come up. Zach Ertz is the other one. I think he's not worth what the price will be to get him. And, another guy that we're talking about, injury history and all of that, can he get it done? So I'm not high on Zach Ertz. Njoku, the one point I made on the podcast, he's Ertz. He's
I'm just saying
but he's also due $8.5 million. You're going to give up trade capital and pay Zach Ertz $8.5 million? I'm not.
I'm not. But I'm just saying,
Njoku's salary is more affordable at $6.5 million. But the one point I made about him is he was available last season. The Bills could have made a trade for him, and they did not. So either Cleveland's price was too high.
He wasn't available. He was trying to force a trade out, and Cleveland was playing hardball. Teams called to inquire, and Cleveland raised the price up. He wasn't really available.
But
they basically put him on punishment. He was pissed off because they went and grabbed another tight end.
That's the same thing right now. They could do the same thing now.
It's a different situation. No, last season was different. He's available. Last season, he wasn't really available.
But I don't think the Bills are, for some reason, McDermott and Bean have done their evaluation, and they do not think, in my mind, Njoku's the guy for this team.
You talk to him?
Because they didn't trade for him. They didn't invest what they could have at the time.
You didn't
Even
hear
if they were asking another pick.
No.
Whatever it was.
If you're asking a 2nd round draft pick for Njoku, you don't do that. But that's what Cleveland was driving the price up.
He was a 1st round draft pick, so they're going to try to get every ounce.
So they were driving the price up for him. This year, you can get him for that 5th. I think you can get him for maybe a 4th and a 6th. I don't think a future.
Can I tell you guys what makes him expendable? Is the fact, and Anthony, I don't know, you remember this pre-draft when I was talking about the kid from FAU. They drafted him, right? And he was balling out. What's his Bryant? What's his first name? God dang, I don't remember his first name, but Bryant. I was like, the Bills, draft that kid because he can ball. He's like a mini Gronk. He came in and was balling out, and it kind of made Njoku expendable. Njoku did come on at the end of the season, but I just think it's kind of goes back to that locker room thing. Like, he just doesn't feel wanted. I think the Bills believe in. Hunter Bryant was his name. I think the Bills believe in, people being the best version of themselves, and you have an elite tight end with elite traits in David Njoku that I think would mesh well with this offense of Josh Allen.
I mean, I again, the Ertz thing, I'm not on the Ertz train. Njoku, you can make the argument his talent would fit, his need, his salary is less. But the other thing I said is draft capital, which Spence already said he thinks it's worth a 5th round pick. Draft capital in a draft like this year where the salary cap is tight and, you need more positions you only have so much money for so many positions. Draft your capital means more. So if you're willing to give up the 5th round pick, you can.
Anthony.
But I don't think the Bills want to do that. I don't think he's the guy.
Anthony. We were just in the AFC Championship. You still are thinking as if we're barely making the playoffs or not making the playoffs. I was going to cuss, but this ain't my platform.
You can't
talking about draft capital and all that stuff. Forget all of that, man.
But that's what
we have no, bro. We have a window. Bean has already built the roster that he needs to build. There's no more there obviously you want to sustain it long term.
Njoku doesn't bring anything that Brevin Jordan does for me.
Bro.
Okay. Draft Brevin Jordan.
Now, where will we be able to draft him? Where will we be able to draft Jordan?
Second round, max.
Second round, right?
Second or third, if he's still available and you trade back. Top of the third.
That's my question. No, but that's my question to you. So you're talking about capital and all this stuff. He might not be available when we pick again in the second round, so we'd have to trade up, right?
Maybe.
So you're giving up more draft picks
in this draft. I'm not trading up for anyone in this draft.
At this point, I would much rather give up a 5th round draft pick for Njoku, who I know would fit this roster, fit this team, be a beast. He would come in here and he would absolutely give us everything we wanted at the tight end position.
Again, if you're talking, for the $6.5 million, I don't disagree that he can do what he can do if they choose to do that. But for $6.5 million and a 5th round pick, I would not do that, and I don't think the Bills will do that. That's what my point is. Because I don't think if you can draft a Brevin Jordan and sign a Jonnu Smith or somebody else at the tight end position, free agents wise, instead of giving up the draft capital, just paying money. That's what I was going to ask Spence next was, of the free agents who are out there, is there one that because you said you're not as high on Jonnu Smith, is there a different free agent that, one of the guys who's out there that I also mentioned on the podcast was Gerald Everett of the Rams, right? He was reduced to a number 2, kind of the same situation as Njoku, where he's still a talented guy, a little less money, probably right around what Njoku has in the $6.5 million. If you end up getting that guy. So I don't know if that's more your flavor than a Jonnu Smith, then maybe, but it kind of, there's some other talent that falls off after that, basically.
I'll tell you what, if I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, and I'm looking at if money wasn't a thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm actually going Hunter Henry. I don't think he'll be available.
Exactly. Yeah. So
if we're talking free agents, not trades and all that stuff, I'll tell you what, give me Mo Alley Cox.
Oh, I like that name. He's
not going to be as expensive as those other guys. Yeah. He's shown some, and I don't know how much you guys get a chance to watch the Indianapolis Colts, but he's shown a lot of athleticism. He's been able to do things that others weren't able to do. He has some really big receiving games in the first half of the season. So he has the talent. Yeah. I just think that the Colts ended up going away from him once they found out what they had in Jonathan Williams. Like the running game took over.
I think he's like a restricted, one of the weird free agents.
He's a restricted free agent. Yeah. He's a restricted free agent.
I agree. I like that name. I do, because he would be cheaper, much cheaper. You could bring him in and draft a Brevin Jordan and be set, at the tight end position. So I'm with you on that name. I like that one. But I don't think he's as much of a game changer as a Jonnu Smith would be for this offense.
Well, no. But what I do also want you to understand, like I said, the point that I made, I wasn't just trying to argue with you this time, like I promised. Yeah, no. You do have to understand, like, this isn't the Buffalo Bills of yesteryear. So we're not in the position to have to we don't have to greatly improve. We're not as far away as you think. So when we're talking about, you're like, oh no, I would much rather draft this. Listen, this year coming up is not the year to develop players on the field. This is the year to go and punch people in the mouth. So the guys that we've been developing, it's time for them to show us something. Agreed. The guys that we're going to sign, you guys got to come in and give us value to this team. Now, we're going to draft guys that will need to be developed. I'm not saying don't draft. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, in the areas that we need help, we were talking about J.J. Watt earlier. We're talking about CB2 earlier. So our cornerback 2 position, tight end, we need upgrades. I'm not confident that in the draft.
Whoa, now I was going with you on that.
Let me finish. So I'm not confident that in the draft, in every area that we have a need, you'll have the opportunity to improve, because we just don't have the position to be able to. We're drafting 30. So and not that it's a good thing, but we're not going to be able to improve every position of need through the draft. You're going to have to take that shot, man. You got to.
But it goes the other way too. You only have so much cap space to give whatever.
Let me say something real quick though. This is the year though. If there's any draft years,
yes,
this is the year where you can take a chance because this is where you would trust your scouting department. I think the Bills really do have a good scouting department and talent evaluation because there's so many guys that scouts get lazy. Okay, that's one thing I learned at the Scouting Academy, that they'll tell you that scouts get lazy, teams get lazy with their draft evaluation of players. There's going to be so many guys that we never thought that were going to be any good, or guys that we just forgot about because the NFL and football is like, what have you done for me now? There's going to be some guys that could be had. So it's not just in the first round, not second round, third round. It could be guys in the fifth, sixth round. Yes. So it goes to both of you guys' points actually. That it just depends on what if we knew what the Bills valued position-wise, I think that would give us a better idea and understanding of where they're going to look for. But we have no freaking idea. We just only can speculate. So, but both of you guys are right. I agree, though. We do need X factor. We need players that are going to take us over the moon.
You gotta look at it like that.
I love what the LA Rams have done in the past 3-4 years. They said, hell with the fucking first round draft picks. I want proven talent. The Bills have to adopt some more of that. Like, okay, you got Stephon Diggs. Now let's go get somebody else.
Part of that is what I was saying earlier about trading down to get more second round picks, because I do agree with you that there's going to be talent throughout this draft. Yeah. So, get the guys, get more bodies who are potential stars in that second round than, putting all your eggs in that first round basket necessarily. But the fact remains that you can't just fill all those holes with
you can't. There's no perfect offseason.
You're not going to get J.J. Watt, Hunter Henry, all these guys.
But you can get one.
You're not going to sign a running back, right? You can
get one.
You can get one, and then you have to get creative and fill those holes in the draft. So that's what I think it comes down to. Spence, if you want J.J. Watt, then you get J.J. Watt. Obviously, already you said you'd rather invest that in the offensive line, as we both would. But still, you can't get all of those players of talent-wise who are ready to come in and be difference makers. You still have to get creative. And Bean and McDermott said this themselves at the end of the year press conference. McDermott made it a point to say, look,
what they said.
We are not one step away from the Super Bowl. We are not one step away from the Super Bowl. We have to rebuild this team to be as good as we were this year and improve.
There's a certain way you got to talk to the media. Like the team is
they went in the last season, and you never heard them sniffing a blockbuster trade, but it happened. You see what I'm saying? Like there was
you heard them sniffing. They tried Antonio Brown. They tried Antonio Brown. They tried to make them.
Only thing they said at the end of last season, we just got to score more points. There was no,
Yeah, but still, you knew Brandon Bean's aggressive,
and we knew wide receiver was
exactly. So we can't go in saying, why are they not they're just not going to be aggressive anymore? Just because they said, well, we're not going to explore any blockbuster trades unless something comes in your lap.
To your point, they did not say that last year. They did not say we are not going to do anything crazy this year. They did say that this year. Brandon Bean did say we are not going to do anything crazy this year. Don't expect that this year from us because that's not where we're at.
It doesn't happen. I don't care what they say, really.
It could happen.
Let me tell you what. He said don't expect. They said don't expect a big splash play, and they said don't expect nothing flashy like that. But then the Buffalo Bills was one of the first teams to be reported as interested in J.J. Watt. So you can't.
They don't view him as that kind of splash.
Yeah, he's like J.J. Watt's not a splash. Yeah,
they're not stupid. They know if I go get J.J. Watt, he's better than what we have.
They're going to do their due diligence, but they don't lie to us, right? They've never McDermott and Bean have never lied about these things.
Listen,
they have.
They're just very coy. They're very middle of the road.
When they're coy, but when he comes out and says blatantly, we're not doing any kind of splashes, you have to take him at his word. Because he didn't say that last year because he knew he was working on making a splash.
Listen, there are teams out there that can give two shits about salary cap. Okay, if you want a guy in the NFL, you can go in and get him. And that's just the Saints are notoriously bad at the salary cap. The Rams are notoriously bad.
The Saints aren't even going to be able to field a team next year. At this rate.
Yes, they will. Watch you.
Okay. I guarantee you, we're going to have just as good of a team, and we're going to have some better pieces with the salary cap that it was. They're going to find a way to pay all of these guys.
I got stolen for this. But the
Saints are dead.
2 years, 2 prime years to make a Super Bowl run. 2. this year and the next year before Josh Allen's contract, whatever he gets this year, before it kicks in. Okay. If you want to make a splash move and put your team in the best position to win a damn Super Bowl, now is the time to do it. The Patriots won Super Bowls, and I know they had Brady, but the Rams made an appearance in the Super Bowl. Hell, even the Chicago Bears and Rex Grossman made moves to put them in positions. The Indianapolis Colts were not. I mean, it's been in the NFL for years, and you can go back and look at these rosters, man. They make moves to put themselves over the top. The Bills need a move. And I don't care if it's offense or defense side of the ball, if you're going to make a splash move, but go ahead and give me some guys, some X-Factor rookies that can come in and fill some of those positions. And so, again, if we knew what their positional needs were, their value chart, then we'd probably have a better understanding of what they want to do, but we just don't know yet.
I mean, it all depends on who they sign. If we re-sign our offensive line, I'd be shocked if we spend a first-round or second-round pick on an offensive lineman right away. If they bring back all 5 guys, granted, we need depth, but we are going to need a tight end or a defensive lineman, some other position of need if we decide to invest that money in offensive linemen. Same thing goes for the D-line. And we know they're going to get creative and rework contracts and make all the money happen, which Greg Tom said has gone over extensively in the podcast with Anthony Prohaska a couple weeks ago.
I got to get Greg on. I got to get him on and talk about
dollars, man. He makes it work.
Well, look. We could talk about this all night, but the fact of the matter is, y'all, I think we're done. I think we need to go on and table it. I think we need to go back to the drawing board, kind of, write some stuff up, because, I mean, there's so many different things that the Bills could do this year. Man.
I was going to say, what I think we need to do for one of these shows coming up is do our own GMing and put in the guys we want. You want J.J. Watt? Great. What are you doing at offensive line? How are you going to make it work with the cap space and the rework? How are you going to make, if you get J.J. Watt, fill those other spots? Same thing. If I sign Jonnu Smith, how am I going to make the defensive line work next year versus, Spence, who might be signing a cheaper tight end, drafting a guy, and then signing J.J. Watt or something. It's all creative.
You're right. It depends on how they want to handle it. But like I said, I really, especially as content creators, man, like when you're going into your show, please, for me, just like take a step back and take a moment and think and say, okay, wait. But we are good. We are very good. Yeah. We were in the conference championship. We made the Final Four of the NFL last year. We are not that far away. I know what the GM and the coach said, that we're many steps away. I know that they feel, that's coach talk and that's GM talk. And you got to do that because you have to be realistic with yourself and you got to be honest and say, hey, we missed the mark. So they're going to be harsh on themselves. But in reality, if you take a step back and look at this season, nobody going into this season with the roster we had and the schedule that we had thought that we would win 13 games. We thought maybe 11, 10. That's what most people were saying. But 13-3, and then the AFC Conference Championship. No, nobody thought that. So the thing is, it's like, dude, we're there. So you got to look at it the way the Patriots used to be, where every year it's like, damn, they're in the Super Bowl. Damn, they're in the conference championship. And then they go out and they add Stephon Gilmore. They sign the best cornerback in the league. Then they'll come and they'll sign a stud corner or a stud linebacker or just something. They make a move that might not be splashy as far as a weapon, but they've upgraded a very important position. We are in the position where we need that type of production from very specific places. So what I'm saying is, I get, like, years past, all of like the training we've had as Bills fans has been on mediocre teams. This is uncharted territory for us. So really have to take a step back and be like, wait, this ain't what I'm used to. You got to look at it different. That's all I'm saying. I love you guys. Appreciate you having me on. Check out the Code of Conduct every Tuesday, every Monday, dropping on the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. I'm out here doing the damn thing. Shout out to my guys over there, my man Bruce Nolan, my man Anthony, everybody. Just shout out everybody over there at Buffalo Rumblings, man. And I appreciate you guys at Cover One, the Hoof Pod. You guys are my family all day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you already know it all. It pops when we got my guy on here.
Exactly.
But hey,
we love it.
You ain't running shit. I tell you when you can start talking your business. All right, dog.
I was like, let me hurry up and get this out of here. Let me get this out the way.
Look at his show.
You better be glad you family.
We'll tell you when you can play the show.
I had me and Joe had that joke one time too. Joe was on the show, and I was just like, wait, no, this is my show, Joe. This is my show.
I remember that one. Yeah.
No, man. Hey, we love having you on, man. Thank you for joining us again. Yeah, he's right. follow, like, subscribe to the Code of Conduct, Buffalo Rumblings, man. Those are our guys too, man. And there ain't no pod. I always say there's no pod wars around here. We kick it with everybody. We won't care. This is how we get down. But it's all love, man. It really is all love. And again, this is the Cover One Network, and this is the Hoof Live, and we'll be back at it with another episode next week. And we out of here.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.